As a practicing real estate lawyer for many years, commonly clients would walk in and have very significant challenges with builders, with the build process, with professional service providers, and we were often in a position to help them clean that up or to resolve those issues. And I knew there was a better way. And also, my wife and I were fortunate enough to build a home about 7 or 8 years ago, and we applied best practices from real estate development perspective that led to a great outcome and a great value proposition. And from there, friends and family asked us to assist them with their builds, and that's how Advocate was born.
A little bit about me. I grew up in it. My dad started building in the Valley in the 70s and 80s, both residential and commercial. So personally, I got into it in 1996, so about 26 years ago, and always stuck with building custom houses. Never got into commercial, never got into production. There's nothing better than delivering a custom home to a client. So my role with Advocate is a senior advisor. What that means is, with my expertise and my experience, I'm able to take on files at all different parts of construction, from beginning to mid to possibly at the end, and help find solutions for clients that are struggling to get where they want to be.
Prior to joining Advocate, I had about 30 years in the construction trades, mostly in the interior finishes with marble and granite work. The purpose and role of Advocate is to really unify the team members behind the common goal of building the client's dream house as quickly and affordably as possible.
Advocate's main goal and purpose is to advance the interests of the owner. Building is a very complex process or series of processes that requires subtle and overt steps that need to be taken in order to comprehensively support the owner's objectives. And some of those objectives are known and some are unknown. Some are behind the scenes in terms of how the professional service providers deliver design, deliver engineering, etc. And so it's about understanding those complexities and putting them in process to always protect the owner's interests. As part of an initial consultation with a client, and as we start to work with a client, it is really critical to us that clients understand what it is they're embarking on, to understand the complexities, the challenges, the timing, the cost, the different inputs that make a project successful or make a project challenging. And we do that because ultimately it's about having a high level of alignment between the owner and everyone else who's part of the delivery team of the project.
I love working with Advocate because it enables me to use my experience and help people. I find that that's the rewarding process for me, is helping individuals get to the outcome, which typically, when we're dealing with luxury custom residential, they're homes. And delivering a home, a house for a client, that's gonna be their home, is really rewarding. So the biggest value proposition when using Advocate, and there are many, but in the top 3, I would say for sure, it's the experience and network that the Advocate team as a whole brings forward for a client.
So when building a luxury custom home, there are a lot of challenges that can creep up. What Advocate tries to do is look around the corner in order to avoid surprises as we move through the process. There tends to be right now, when people are buying a house or building a house, kind of a fear of missing out. When faced with that, sometimes clients can make choices which are really not beneficial to them in the long term. We try to help them through that process in a manner that protects their interests.
So Advocate is all about customizing the delivery of services based on a particular client's objectives. And that can range from assisting a client with spec development, to assisting a family with a build to suit, to assisting a family in the purchase of a spec, to assisting a family in the turnaround of a project that's not going well. And so what we do is we size up a project, we seek to understand from the client what the needs are, and then we customize a package of services to help advance the client's interests.
So Advocate solves problems by taking the team as a whole, not only the Advocate team, but the client side and the builder side, and proactively solution ways to get to the outcome.
Clients who are building a luxury home don't have access to the information of what it really costs to build a luxury home in the markets that we serve. Advocate has worked very hard at assembling that information on the projects that we work on, and also on projects that we've been shared information on the costs, in order to build financial models that are consistent with real market pricing at present. This is a huge advantage to a client that they don't otherwise have in ensuring that what they're being presented with is consistent with the market cost. And this is particularly important in an environment of significant cost increases, heavy demand on these construction projects, to ensure that a client is fully informed as to what the real market conditions are. Over the years, we've recognized that there's often a disconnect at the time of acquiring a piece of dirt or an existing house and what the client's objectives are. And so we've developed a service that we call pre-purchase advisory services, where we support the realty team, we support the owner, and we'll help assemble the right professionals to ensure that the client is informed as part of their purchase. Because fixing that problem is substantially more complicated than preventing it. And so we'll meet at the site with the client. We will seek to understand their objectives. We will essentially align those objectives with the parcel and the current construction, if any, to help the client make informed decisions. And that can include establishing budgets before the property is purchased. It can include understanding complexities around engineering, civil engineering, to help identify and support kind of the complexities of the build. And so for each project, we can customize a solution that is intended to support the owner and the realty team. One of our, I think, most important services is team assembly. And a complicated project, be it a remodel or a new build, is a marriage of human beings for an extended period of time to make the project successful. And if you start out with poor decisioning on that group of professionals, you create challenges, and you also reduce opportunities that can really advance a project. And so what we do is we help to understand the client's objectives in terms of their design intent, the location of the project, the complexities of the project, and we bring a list of outstanding and pre-qualified design and engineering professionals who can be interviewed, in addition to any that the owner desires to interview, to help make informed decisions. So we'll schedule interviews, we will work with them to ask and answer any questions that need to be understood by the owner. And once the owner provides direction with our consultation as to the direction that they want to take, we will negotiate all of those agreements, obtain proposals for all those agreements, and help to assemble the team, all with an eye towards high performance and collaboration.
So Advocate's role in assembling team consists of architect, interior designer, and engineers. What that means is, once we have a clear understanding of what our client's needs and wants are, is going out and finding the right team that fits their needs and wants. So it starts off with an architect and the engineers. In addition to identifying the architect, we then help the client negotiate the contract and best fit for an interior designer to follow.
Advocate provides a very analytical set of services to assist owners with the selection of a general contractor. And we do that with an eye towards an apples to apples analysis after we've collected the data. And in order to ensure that that happens, we have to study the plans very carefully and develop proper, complete, and thorough bid instructions that ensure that what is being bid by the builder and all of the subcontractors are the same. And we do that by being very clear and very direct with respect to how projects are to be bid, and then we collect that data and put that into our proprietary bid system that allows for us to evaluate and identify anomalies, identify areas of potential missing scope, identify areas of potential misunderstood scope, in order to ensure that when the client is being presented ultimately with the bid analysis, that they're able to see in a transparent and holistic way the project costs between the different builders.
We found that the selection of a builder is really the most critical portion of the construction process. We work with the client to determine which contractors might be well suited for their project. Then we complete due diligence on each of these different builders. We have to find builders that are both capable of building the project and also have a good rapport with the client. For a process that takes sometimes 2 to 3 years, we need to ensure that it's the right fit for the client. So at Advocate, what we do is we go through a really extensive contractor selection exercise where we evaluate their different abilities, pricing, time frame, and really try to ensure that when the client does make a decision, that it's based on the best information possible.
The kinds of projects that Advocate is involved with typically are very complicated projects, and those complicated projects need constant and regular supervision and support in order to ensure that everyone's rowing the boat in the same direction. And so our services include having a dedicated senior advocate on a project to ensure that there is an alignment between the build team, the ownership team, and the design and engineering professionals, so that the steps that need to be taken are taken in a timely way in order to encourage and ensure that the project is moving along at an optimal pace. And that includes regular site visits, typically weekly. It involves regular communications among all team members that need to have deliverables done and by when. It ensures that there is a regular review of all change order applications, that those are fairly negotiated and concluded in a timely way. It includes the review of payment applications from the builder, timely review and support, ensuring that the payment applications are consistent with the work that's been done in the field. It includes updating budgets on a real-time basis to ensure that as decisions are made in the field and by the owners, that they're understood by everyone as to the financial and cost implications. And it also involves addressing lien waivers, lien releases as appropriate, ensuring that the right documentation is in place to support the decisions that the various team members and owners are making. In short, it's about managing and administering the project in a way that is tailored towards transparency, clarity, and timeliness, so that the project is built timely and also consistent with the budget. A very exciting time in the life of a project is as we near completion and we near the time when the clients are going to be moving into the house. This is a very busy time of lots of trades, lots of details, lots of focus on all of the little things that make a house perfect. And so as part of the project completion phase, we engage in very significant site visits with all of the team members, interiors, certain trades, the general contractor certainly, in order to make sure that all of the details have been addressed properly and completely and timely, so that it aligns with the owner's objectives to move into a home. And these are complicated dances that need to be done in order to ensure that's the case. It involves developing lists of all the open items that need to be complete, assigning tasks to each of those people, and ensuring that the right expectations are set with everyone to make sure that everything is concluded in the way that it should. It also includes identifying and helping the owner to understand all of the warranties that are in place so that they have the pathway to get issues corrected with these very complicated homes, and that the transition there happens in a very efficient and exciting way. Lending coordination on a complex build or remodel is complicated. There are unique characteristics to the types of loans that are available for construction. Advocate is very familiar with the lenders and these options, and works with the owner to understand their unique financing goals and objectives. And then we work to help the owner, as their representative, competitively bid and select the right financing option for their particular build. The characteristics and uniqueness of what's offered can make a huge difference in areas such as the loan to value, areas such as what we call a one-time close loan, the timing associated with the build, and what's allowed under the various loans. And because Advocate's been doing this now for many years, we have a very good understanding as to the pros and cons of different solutions and can help advance a client's interest to make the right selection. Advocate loves to help investors and developers of spec homes. And we bring a wide suite of services in order to help investors or help developers make good decisions around the design and the construction and pricing of those spec homes. Advocate has team members that come from a perspective of finance, from the standpoint of real estate development, from the perspective of building, in addition to having lots of experience in the selection and understanding of the team that needs to deliver in order to deliver a great and successful spec project. And so we work with owners and investors, developers, to identify the right team, to select the builder, to negotiate all of those agreements. We help with financial modeling of the costs and the profitability based on taking into account all of the attributes of a particular project. And then we help with construction management in order to deliver the project consistent with the design intent and consistent with the budget in mind in order to support owners and investors with a successful speculative project. At Advocate, we seek to have projects run in a healthy and successful way. But unfortunately, many times in the build community, projects go awry. And they go awry for lots of different reasons. In some cases, it's a misalignment of objectives or not having established the correct objectives. And in some cases, it's outright fraud, unfortunately, where owners are taken advantage of. What we do when projects are troubled is we bring together a great team of senior construction experts to evaluate the project, to understand what's wrong, where the misalignment has occurred. In the event that there's been fraud or malfeasance, understand what that is and how we and or our clients or their lawyers are going to proceed with it. And we seek to solve the problem. And sometimes that is around shoring up the relationship, creating better expectations, clear understanding among the parties involved, and then pushing that path forward. And in some cases, it means a transition of team members has to occur in order for the project to be successful for the benefit of the owner. And these are complex questions that require complex analysis to really help understand what is the right path forward and how do we go about ensuring that the client's interests are protected and the project outcome is improved.
In my opinion, it's important for an owner to have an advocate for a second opinion. It's our objective to bring an owner information so that they can make great decisions. In my opinion, what makes Advocate unique is the experience that the Advocate team brings forward. We are truly the owner's partner through the process. If it's not from the beginning, it could be from the middle on, but doesn't matter. We're going to be there till the end. We're going to try to exceed their expectations and deliver a product that they set out to build.
So I find working at Advocate to be incredibly rewarding. I feel that in my position, I help the client through the process of building their luxury dream home and make it a lot more enjoyable just by taking out some of the frustration, insecurity, and reducing some of the challenges that they face.
If you're interested in learning more about our services and would like to connect with one of our project advocates, please reach out to us on our website, www.advocate-rca.com. And once you connect with our team, we will set you up with a senior project advocate to understand the scope of the project, what your objectives are, to see if it's potentially a fit. And if it is, then to schedule a consultation to talk about the project in great detail. Following that conversation, if a client is interested in proceeding with our services, we develop a proposal that outlines all the services that we think best fit the client's objectives, and then schedule a phone call to discuss it and to see if the client is ready and interested in proceeding.